She fell pregnant for a man that doesn't exist. What happened next would make you think twice before you say yes to that online relationship. Lila Harper, a 32-year-old graphic designer in a quiet Oregon town, had grown accustomed to the hum of her solitary life. Her days were filled with freelance projects, her evenings with Netflix and chamomile tea. But beneath the routine, a loneliness gnawed. When a friend convinced her to try a dating app, Lila hesitated. Online romance felt like a gamble. Yet, curiosity won. She created a profile, uploaded a photo of herself smiling in a sunflower field, and swiped through a sea of faces. Then she found Ethan. Ethan's profile was a beacon. His photos showed a ruggedly handsome man in his late 30s, with warm hazel eyes and a crooked smile. He stood in front of a cozy suburban house, a golden retriever at his side, or laughed with 2 kids, a boy and a girl, in a park. His bio read like a love letter to life: widower, dad of 2, looking for someone to share the little moments. Love hiking, pancakes, and second chances. Lila messaged him, half expecting no reply. Within hours, he responded with a witty quip about her sunflower photo. Their chat sparked instantly, playful, then deep, then intimate. Ethan shared stories of his kids, Lily and Ben, and their quirky habits, Lily's obsession with fireflies, Ben's love for building model rockets. He sent photos of family dinners, a slightly blurry FaceTime call where he blamed a spotty rural connection for the grainy image. Lila, enchanted, fell hard. 6 months of daily texts and calls later, Ethan proposed a leap. "I want to be closer to you," he said, claiming he'd sold his house in Colorado to start fresh. Lila, swept up in the romance, offered her spare room. When Ethan arrived at her apartment, he was everything she'd imagined: tall, charming, with a voice that felt like a warm blanket. He carried a single suitcase, explaining his belongings were in storage. Over weeks, they built a life, cooking pasta, binge-watching sci-fi shows, planning a nursery when Lila discovered she was pregnant. Ethan's joy seemed boundless. He'd kiss her growing belly, suggest names like Emma or Noah, and talk of a future with a white picket fence. Lila ignored the small red flags, his locked phone, his vague answers about his past, the way mail never arrived for him. When she pressed, he'd grow distant, sometimes vanishing for days with excuses about family emergencies. She chalked it up to grief over his late wife. But doubt crept in. One night, Lila's best friend, Mara, a skeptical journalist, visited and prodded her about Ethan. "Have you met his kids? Seen his ID?" Mara asked. Lila laughed it off, but Mara's words lingered. That evening, while Ethan was visiting his sister, Mara ran a reverse image search on his profile photos. The results were a gut punch. Ethan's house was a stock photo from a real estate site. The kids were models in a clothing ad. His dog, Max, appeared in a pet food commercial. Lila's heart raced as Mara dug deeper, finding no trace of Ethan Caldwell online, no social media, no records, nothing. When Lila called his number, it was disconnected. Panicked, Lila searched their apartment, finding a hidden burner phone in Ethan's jacket. It held messages to other women, all eerily similar to his texts to her: "Can't wait to see you, love. Thinking of our future." She confronted him when he returned, but Ethan's charm dissolved into cold silence. "You're paranoid," he snapped, grabbing his suitcase and vanishing into the night. Lila woke the next morning to find her bank account drained, $12,000 gone. Her grandmother's ruby ring, her laptop, even her spare keys were missing. Her apartment felt violated, as if Ethan's presence had seeped into the walls. At the police station, Lila's world shattered further. The officer, a weary detective named Ruiz, recognized Ethan's MO. "You're not the first," he said grimly. Ethan's real name, or one of them, was Marcus Kane, a serial conman who targeted 3 other women across the country. Each had fallen for his fabricated life, gotten pregnant, and lost everything: savings, homes, sanity. The other victims, Claire, Sarah, and Hannah, were now in mental asylums, their lives unraveled by Marcus's betrayal. Ruiz shared chilling details. Marcus used fake IDs, burner phones, even prosthetic makeup to alter his appearance. He'd lived with each woman for months, weaving himself into their lives before disappearing. Claire, the first known victim, had found a journal Marcus left behind, filled with taunting notes about his game. He wrote of savoring their trust, their love, their destruction, describing each woman as a chapter in his story. Claire's breakdown landed her in a padded cell, clutching pages of his scrawled words, "You'll never forget me." Lila's pregnancy became a nightmare. Every kick in her belly felt like a tether to Marcus's lies. She moved to a new city, a small coastal town in Maine, hoping distance would dull the fear. But the internet buzzed with Marcus's crimes. Ex-posts from true crime sleuths speculated he was still active, using new aliases on dating apps. Lila's dreams were haunted by his face, now unrecognizable, shifting like a mirage. She wondered if he was watching her, waiting to return. Her therapist urged her to focus on the future, but the past clung like damp rot. The eerie climax came at 8 months pregnant. Lila received an anonymous package at her new address, a plain envelope with no return label. Inside was a sonogram, not hers, dated 3 years earlier, from one of Marcus's other victims, Hannah. A note in looping handwriting read, "We're all family now." Lila's blood ran cold. Was it Marcus, toying with her? A copycat? Or worse, one of the broken women, twisted by their shared trauma. She burned the note, but the words echoed. She installed cameras, changed her locks, and stopped answering unknown numbers. Sleep became a luxury, stolen by paranoia. Lila gave birth to a healthy girl, naming her Hope, a desperate grasp at redemption. Motherhood grounded her, but the fear lingered. Every stranger's glance at the grocery store, every unsolicited message online, made her flinch. She joined a support group for Marcus's victims, meeting Sarah, who'd recently left the asylum. Sarah's hollow eyes and trembling hands told a story of guilt and paranoia. Over coffee, Sarah whispered about Marcus's final trick, a rumor he'd faked his death, planting clues to torment them forever. She showed Lila a photo she'd received, a blurry image of Marcus at a train station, time-stamped after his supposed disappearance. "He's still out there," Sarah said, her voice cracking. "Or maybe he's in our heads." Lila's life became a tightrope walk. She worked from home, designing logos while Hope napped, but every dating app ad on her phone spiked her pulse. She vetted every new contact, cross-referencing faces and stories, but trust was a ghost she'd never catch. Hope's laughter was her anchor, yet Lila struggled with the weight of her daughter's origin. Could she love Hope fully, knowing she was tied to such darkness? The guilt gnawed, but she vowed to protect her, to break the cycle Marcus had spun. The story's chill lies in its unanswered shadows. Was Marcus alive, crafting a new family, a new lie? Had he sent the sonogram, or was it a fractured victim, bound to him in madness? Lila lives, but her world is a maze of doubt. She checks her locks nightly, scans X for news of Marcus, and holds Hope a little tighter. His shadow stretches long, a warning carved in the hearts of anyone tempted to say yes to a stranger online. The man you love might not exist, but his damage will haunt you forever. Think twice.